While I question that Alexy Navalny could ever be at the moment could ever be seen as a genuine opposition to President Putin, and in that sense, it's very difficult to imagine that Alexei Navalny could be the next president of Russia. While I question this, and therefore the designation which is often given to Alexei Navalny by Western media, I am, of course, hugely supportive of Alexei and hugely dismayed by the treatment that he has been given by the Russian authorities, by the Kremlin-led authorities. And a series of open letters has now been sent. The first by doctors, the second yesterday by lawyers, and now today more than 50 current and former politicians, lawmakers at various levels in the Russian government and throughout Russian society around the country have written an open letter in support of Alexei Navalny, and specifically not asking for his release, but pointing out that dissent and protest is guaranteed under Article 31 of the Russian Constitution, as indeed is medical support while somebody is detained in prison. And they worry that Article 31 has all but been destroyed by federal laws and decrees from regional officials. Even expressing one's opinion on the internet carries a high risk of prosecution, whether at an administrative level or at a criminal one. As a result, it seems to you that everything is fine. Nobody is protesting or speaking out. Well, we're speaking out. This follows the same sort of tone that was adopted during the final days of the Tsar, when the Tsar himself was not being criticized, but people around the Tsar were criticized, and people were saying, well, we just need to bring this to the Tsar's attention. Surely the Tsar cannot know that so much foul play is ongoing under his nose without his knowledge. We just need to make him aware. I'm afraid these lawmakers, these minor politicians, are, of course, deceived. Mr. Putin is well aware of what's going on. The letter, anyway, demands that the authorities stop placing Navalny in a punishment cell and subjecting him to other forms of unreasonable penalties intended to create unbearable detainment conditions. They call for Navalny to be to have family visits, to see his relatives, and to be given the proper medical care that he needs. In addition, they demand a public and transparent investigation into the legality of the actions related to the threats against Alexei Navalny's right to life and the loss of his right to personal dignity. As I say, it stops short of asking for a review of his sentencing and for his release, but it comes very close to that. It comes very close to questioning the very reasons and the ethic on which he has been detained. The implication is, of course, that he is detained simply for questioning the status quo. It's a very brave letter. I think we should be, I'm sure the 50 signatories on that letter will be monitored and may well find themselves taking brief and rather hasty and final journeys from top floor windows. But should that not happen, and I hope there'll be further letters in the immediate future, maybe the barrage of mail will drive Mr. Putin to think more carefully about the detainment and the incarceration of Alexei Navalny. Mr. Putin, of course, is famously someone who has no friends. The only friends he's got, and the only friends he's ever admitted to having, are about 4 or 5 years ago, when he said that he had friends who were gay. So I suppose they could be tracked down. Mr. Medvedev, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who he was referring to in that statement, but certainly he seems a lonely and sad old man suffering from some sort of illness, which means that he is busy caressing his his wrist or his hand, as I suppose no one else is likely to be doing that. Poor Mr. Putin, should we say, or not?